Man, I just want to give a shout out to the sidewalks because they kept me out of the streets.
The stirs naked glance. Grab your hats, y'all. AJoT's going live on YouTube, where the truth's thrive. With the boots on the ground, a cam in her hand, AJoT's patrolling this great land. Through city streets and back road dust, she's watching the watchers in her we trust. Streaming live from dawn to night, she's the voice of justice, the beacon of light. AJoT, standing tall and proud, country heart, her voice ain't loud. Tune in on YouTube, see her stance, she's telling the stories that make you glance. Under the neon lights or the setting sun, AJoT's work is never done. From the sheriff's misdeeds to the city patrol, her lens is sharp, she's on a roll. Investigating truths with a country flair. On YouTube, you'll find it there. So hit that subscribe, ring the bell for more. AJoT's got stories galore. On YouTube's trail, she rides ahead. Champion of the free, just like she said.
I don't know if you can, but can you get an order for Hans at ONS Junior Market, the address 1934 East Anaheim. All the windows are busted out.
I love you too, Fat Daddy. Welcome in,
Yeet.
everybody. Welcome in.
That good enough for you? All
Yeah,
right.
that's enough
Okay.
big face.
Now it's going down like this, or we can go down like this, or it can
Yeah.
go up like
No, I like being on top. You can do that on top thing. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
There we go.
Lets me relax.
Okay.
So, what we doing?
We're doing some crazy things, man. Crazy.
They're
things.
doing stuff, right? They
We're
keep
doing that
these things.
stuff, man.
They're doing these things.
Doing
Did you know a
these
chick
things.
died at Wells Fargo and nobody noticed?
Really? Are you serial?
Totally
4
serious.
days?
4 days.
4 days.
4 days. And you know what that means, right? That means payroll caught it. She
I
didn't
mean,
clock out.
it's a good theory.
No, it was payroll. Had to be payroll. Somebody from payroll called up and said, "Hey, go check on Jessica. That bitch hadn't clocked out."
Yeah, I mean, that's what it would have to be. Yes, that's the one that
Absolutely.
died at her desk. Died at her desk. I mean,
Imagine
how
you know-
miserable of a person. I mean, I don't know how many employees, but it was at what, Wells Fargo, right? That's a pretty
right?
decent. I mean, so there, let's just go out on a limb and say like 10. There had to be other 10 employees.
That looks like a pretty big pretty big
Right.
branch, man.
Right.
That's not my local Wells Fargo. I'll tell you that much.
I just crazy.
Right? Now check this craziness out. This is absurd. By the way, check on your neighbors. What's
Yeah.
up, Rumsky? Check on your neighbors. You want to do the chat first?
Yeah, let's see the chat.
You like doing in groups, don't you?
Yeah.
So we got Scotty Waddles first. Of course, he gets
Scotty
the gold.
Waddles.
Always does. He's gonna get disqualified to keep on. We got Brooke 33.
Welcome.
Fresh Coast Live Network. Welcome in, brother. Good to
Fresh
see you.
Toast. Edwina.
Got Edwina. Why won't it come up?
I don't know.
It won't. Oh, there it goes.
And then
Okay,
we got
I'm
U-Haul it.
The Nalte Kona. Heart at Party. Welcome in, bud. Nikki, good to see you.
Nikki.
We got some Fab Daddy 44 talking loves and hearts and stuff.
Loves.
Rumsky come into your chat first because he love you more.
She.
Citizen not.
She.
Hey. Hey. What's up, Judd? Welcome in. That's the prime moderator.
You forgot Citizen not?
I called out Citizen not. Don't be snarky with me.
Not. As in none. Okay.
Zero. As in alt. But
Roll that beautiful bean
A
footage.
Tempe Wells Fargo employee died at her desk. And 12 News is now confirming that it may have taken as many as 4 days for anyone in the office to notice.
New tonight, a Wells Fargo employee died.
4 days, bruh. You didn't like no cookies, no brownies. Nobody brought you a piece of candy. Nobody came and told you to have a good day. You ain't say hi or bye to nobody. Yeah.
Eyes at her desk, and no one bats an eye.
So let's talk about this case of a Wells Fargo employee who died at her desk and wasn't discovered for 4 days.
Okay, hold on. So can we talk about her overtime? Who gets her overtime? She was at work. Right? That was what I was thinking. The worst thing about this is she woke up in hell and was still at work. Free side, Mr. Nicky.
Now, this case is tragic as it is shocking. A Wells Fargo employee, her name is Denise, was found dead at her desk. And the most jaw-dropping part of it is that it took 4 days for anyone to even notice. Yeah, you heard that right. 4 days. Now, this situation raises some serious questions about workplace safety, company culture, and just basic human decency. Let's break this case down and the potential legal implications that the company may be facing.
All right. So does this make it an unsafe work environment since there's been at least one company death in the office? Can we discuss hauntings? Are we going to have to get new ghost insurance? Are the Ghostbusters going to be called? Is it going to be the first ones or the new ones? Because I mean, I'd take the zombie Ghostbusters at this point. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, did you see the last couple of movies? That last one wasn't terrible. It was a definite improvement over the one before. Like
The
last
Ghostbusters?
yeah, the last two weren't absolutely heinous, but they were a vasty improvement over the 2016 Ghostbusters. Because
I don't know. I don't know the original.
you don't think it was an improvement, or you don't think the 2016 Ghostbusters was bad?
No, I think it. I don't know that I would say it was better.
Hey,
Maybe
I'll
this
give
is
it this much. Here's the thing. The original Ghostbusters happened. It was a phenomenon. I was alive.
Awesome.
I
Yes.
think
Yes.
absolutely freaking amazing. It was an amazing time to live in, where you could literally have random Ghostbusters showing up at any random time just because they're that freaking cool.
Right.
That being said, we had cops dressing up as Ghostbusters and coming to the school. It was an amazing time to live. 2016, they did, and I'm not exaggerating here, a beat for beat remake with an all-woman cast, and it completely flopped. It flopped just like a dead fish doesn't.
Right.
It was bad. And the last couple of movies have kind of redeemed the concept of things like plot development and character arc and doing things instead of saying things happened off screen.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with the facts. On Friday, August 16th at 7 a.m. in the morning, 60-year-old Denise clocked into work at Wells Fargo in Tempe, Arizona, but she never clocked out. Now, apparently on that Friday, Denise died at her desk of natural causes, but no one noticed. Now, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday passed, and no one noticed Denise was still sitting at her desk with the same clothes.
Okay, now that makes a little bit of a difference,
A little
right?
bit of sense. But you're
'Cause
telling me
it's
you
over
don't got a
the
cleaning
weekend.
crew? You telling me you don't have a weekend cleaning crew that comes in and does the stuff? You need to step up your game, Wells Fargo. That don't compute. Dude, I've worked some of the trashiest places in Georgia, and almost all of them had at least one person who walked through the place on Sunday to make sure nothing got stolen and everything could get started up.
Right.
Even the crappiest window factory on earth.
Now, we'll fast forward to Tuesday, August 20th, 4 days later. Denise's boss sent her an email when Denise didn't respond.
That's fucked up. I ain't no expert, but I know fucked up when I see fucked up, and that's fucked up.
That was pretty cool.
They're in the building with her, but they emailed her. Do the math on that one.
Right. Well, and like, what is it? Arden said, nobody said hello Monday, like when they came in Monday.
Well, they may have, but she didn't answer, and they seem to think that was just fine.
Yeah,
Other employees
maybe.
went to check on her.
Her boss had emailed her. He didn't receive a response. So they went to go check where she normally sits. And that's how they found the body.
Tempe police say on August 20th, building security called authorities after finding a worker who was possibly dead.
Now, you would think in a modern workplace, someone might notice her absence sooner, right? But you'd be wrong. Now, this tragedy was allowed to happen because of this particular workplace environment. Now, the Wells Fargo office building is a big building, and most employees work remotely. Since the pandemic, companies have allowed more and more employees to work remotely because it saves on cost. Now, think about it. Things like electricity, water, heating and cooling can all mean big bucks to the bottom line. And if you think about it, all of these companies can pass those costs on to the employee who works from home. Now, when it comes to this Wells Fargo building itself, it had 24/7 security. But even with all this, no one noticed that this woman never went home for 4 days and was in the same clothing. Now, there were signs that something was wrong within the office. People reported a smell of a foul odor in the building.
What? Oh
There you go.
my God.
She lost that 21 grams. She pooped.
But most just shrugged it off as faulty plumbing.
This employee says several people had smelled a foul odor, but passed it off as faulty plumbing. They say while most Wells Fargo employees at this Tempe location work remote, the building has 24/7 security.
Okay, so let's talk about some potential legal ramifications for Wells Fargo. First off, there's a possible negligence claim here. When you think about it,
Possible
work-
negligence claim? Possible?
Possible. Well, I don't know, man. Look, I don't know how it's going to come up as negligent when it comes to her actual death, because, I mean, if you
No,
ever
not
seen
to her
someone
actual
sit
death,
there-
because they said it's natural, right? Natural health or whatever.
natural causes, I mean,
Right.
you know,
But the fact that she was in there 4 days.
but it was Friday, Saturday,
But still, they
Sunday.
had 24-hour security.
Yeah, which means somebody on that security force needs to be fired.
For sure.
Because even if she wasn't alive, that building was occupied and they did not know it. Because it wasn't like she was hiding.
Well, and like
here
ANCAP
and
said,
ensure the
you know,
safety and well-being.
Do what?
ANCAP said, you know, he rode with last responders, so he knows how death smells like. He was like, how did the workers not smell that? They did,
Oh, they
but
did.
then they claimed it was sewage or piping, or, I mean.
I'm going to have to go with Ardit here. I agree. Follow species. No longer the height of Earth.
Being of its employees. Wells Fargo failure to notice that one of the employees was not only missing, but dead and sitting at their desk for 4 days could lead to a breach of that duty.
Well, hold on now. She wasn't missing. She was at work, and everyone knew that. There was no reason to consider that she was anywhere else because Barbara's at her fucking desk. Deborah's over yonder sitting in her little bitch corner. You know, ain't nobody going over there to fuck with her. She's working. Leave her alone.
Right.
I don't buy it. That still doesn't compute to me. I ain't never had a job where people didn't come by and throw stuff at me.
This employee wants to see new safety protocols in place, telling me, quote, it's negligence in some part. A different worker also spoke with 12 News anonymously.
It was just uncomfortable.
Again, calling on the company to do more.
Body was there about 4 days before anybody found it, before anybody walked up to her and just to say hi, make sure she's okay. She was just laying on her desk.
Now, even though I think this is a stretch, and since we're talking about potential liability, I think it's good to mention wrongful death. If it turns out that the delay in discovering Denise contributed to her death or any suffering beforehand. Now, even though foul play isn't suspected, the Maricopa County Medical Examiner is still investigating the cause of death. Now, if it's found that Wells Fargo's inaction or poor policies contribute.
That's exactly what I said, Edwina. Can we talk about that overtime? Because she knows she was making some bank for about 4 days there. Or is it too soon? If she didn't clock out, you do the math.
contributed in any way, they could be on the hook for some legal challenges. Now, of course, Wells Fargo issued a statement expressing their sadness over the loss and mentioned that they've made crisis counselors available to employees.
Wells Fargo said in a statement, "We are deeply saddened by the tragic loss of our colleague at our Tempe office." It also states counselors are available to support employees and all further questions will be directed to police.
Now, let's keep it real. This is more damage control than a genuine solution to the underlying problem. Employees are calling for new safety protocols, and to be fair, they're not wrong. This situation highlights a serious flaw in their system. Having someone sit at a desk with their head down for 4 days before they're discovered, obviously there's a problem. And to say you have 24/7 security in the building, the security walk around and actually do checks of the building? Because generally, if that happened and you had a security guard up there at 1 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday checking the building and sees an employee still sitting at their desk, maybe that would have triggered something earlier. As many of you know, I've been a cop, a prosecutor, a law professor, and now I'm here to make sure that you have the right legal team in your corner. Today, we're tackling a critical issue: automated external defibrillators, or AED, in public spaces like gyms and casinos. Now, when these life-saving devices fail or aren't used, there are consequences that can be devastating. Lives are lost, families are broken due to someone's negligence, leading to death or severe brain damage. Now, together with Gold Law and D. Miller Law, we specialize in cases where AEDs fail or improperly managed. If you suffer from such a failure, or if a loved one has been harmed, it's critical you stand up for your rights. We meticulously review every detail from the legal requirements for AEDs to medical records like EKGs. Our goal is to ensure justice for victims and prevent future tragedies. Now, to protect your legal rights, don't wait. Contact us today. Together with Gold Law and D. Miller Associates, we will fight to get justice for you. So what happens now? Well, besides the ongoing investigation into the cause of death, there's likely going to be an internal review by Wells Fargo. At least there should be. We might see changes on how the company monitors the well-being of its employees, especially at large, remote-heavy workplaces like this one. But it shouldn't stop there. This incident is a wake-up call for employees everywhere to rethink their safety protocols and wellness protocols. Now, you may think this is the first time something like this has happened, but
No. People die at work all the time, way more often than you would expect. Story time with Sasquatch. I was working at a pipe plant one day. Been there for about, I guess it had been maybe 6 weeks. I had been trained on most of the equipment and was supposed to meet up with this dude to go train on a different piece of equipment. Pretty much the last one in the place that I needed to train on. And so I was told to go meet him over in the back corner over there where nothing ever happens, and except for that thing. And I went over there and he wasn't there. I waited around a little while and went back up to the office. Was like, "Hey, is somebody jerking me around about this? Like, Teddy's not over there." And they're like, "No, man, we just saw him a little while ago." We go back over there, look around, didn't look around. We stood around. I stood there, like, looked out back, checked the parking lot, looked at all the lay down lines, anywhere people would sit and maybe eat a sandwich or something. Nowhere to be seen. After about 45 minutes, I was like, "Now, you say you've seen him. Let's go check his time card. Let's make sure he actually clocked in." And when we realized he had actually clocked in, and this is maybe an hour after we started, like not even probably, because there was a 15-minute little safety meeting and everything right before all that, which I don't remember him going to, by the way.
Right.
And so when we realized we had someone on the site that we did not know where was and had not seen him in like 30 minutes, we kind of started shutting shit down and looking, like seriously looking. Turned out, apparently he had stepped over a piece of, it's hard to explain what it is. We're making pipes, so there's these big coils of pipe everywhere. He had stepped over behind a coil of pipe for whatever reason. Maybe he was smoking a joint or something. I don't know. But that's where he died. He fell over in the corner, and he was just far enough out of sight that unless you stepped over into that same corner, you wouldn't have been able to see him. He could have been there a month and nobody would have known, except he had a reason to go over there, That's the only reason we found him. So, I mean, this kind of thing happens all the time. And I'm sure Mr. Nate's going to tell us all about it.
Welcome in the cable company.
Many times in the past. For instance, this Forbes article talks about how a tax auditor died at his desk and he wasn't found for 2 days. He also happened to be 60 years old. Or this story, how a New Yorker died on the subway and passengers didn't notice for 5 hours. And just like the dead rider in New York, same thing happened in Washington, D.C.
Metro officials in Washington, D.C. are investigating how a man who died on a subway train was able to remain on the train for nearly 5 hours. Ricky Van Houter got on at the Twin Brook station at 10 o'clock Monday morning.
That actually kind of makes sense.
Yeah, you know,
You don't mess with somebody
fell
that knows it,
asleep. I mean,
right? You just let him sleep. You don't bother him. He ain't bothering you. Let him sleep. Now,
right.
resting in peace is a little different.
But how do you know he's resting in a peace? I mean,
well, I mean, that's what I'm saying is like nobody knew he was dead, so there's no obligation, there's no liability there.
Right.
The train went out of service a couple of hours later, but despite a visual inspection by the operator, the man's body was not seen.
All right,
Welcome
now that
in,
does
Toe.
stretch the
Toe for
possible.
life.
What up, Toe baby? Toe daddy. What?
Judd.
Have somebody dead on the train. It's
John
like
D.
you're not doing your job. So I don't know. I just feel like he got let down.
It was not until 3 o'clock when the train went back into service that Houter's body was noticed.
My heart goes out to his family. You know, it's a terrible thing to happen. You know, I just hope Metro gets a hold of the situation.
Now, this issue is not a new issue. It's been happening for decades. People dying in office buildings, in public places, and other people not noticing for hours, even days. So what do you guys think about this? Could this have been prevented, or is this just some tragic freak accident?
What do you think?
I don't think the death could have been permit or whatever, but yeah, but it wouldn't come out my mouth. But I mean, the lack of, becoming aware of it, I think totally failed.
Did I just freeze up? No, hold on, let me fix it. What just happened?
The background went went black.
It's this that I was wanting to show. There are two ways of arguing with a woman, and neither one of them works. That's your secret to success and happiness. Right there. Just give up before you start, and it's all okay from there. Right?
Right.
All right. See, I'll take notes. Remember, there's going to be a test on Tuesday.
The prisons we are about.
Prisons. What do we know about prisons?
Prisons, they're nothing but
They suck.
Rotting holes. Yeah. What say Lou? Welcome in. El Perro.
What say Lou? El Perro. Welcome in, Hotel. So, do you want to go to a prison?
No.
Me neither. I have no intention of ever going to a prison if I can help it. Even as a tourist. Not interested. So,
I don't know. I would like to do one of them haunting things like at Alcatraz.
Haunt things?
Haunting, like haunting tours.
Yeah, no, I got you. We've got a pretty cool setup here in town. There's the old pre-Civil War jail is still up with all the functional stuff in there. And we use it as a genealogy museum, which is funny because used to it was full of books and newspapers and all kinds of stuff. Now it's just got a laptop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's been cleaned up and renovated. It's just a laptop. That's it. You can do it at home.
To cover in this video, redefine the meaning of suffering. The conditions are so brutal, so inhumane, that many inmates believe death would be a merciful release. From the relentless brutality of Gitarama prison in Rwanda to the suffocating prison in Russia, these prisons don't just punish, they kill the human spirit. Let's check out some of the worst prisons in the world, starting with Black Dolphin Prison, Russia.
I've heard some prison stories from Russia.
Yeah.
They have somebody in the cell. Now, I think the translation might be bad on some of this, right? You got these big mafioso bosses over there, these oligarch types that get locked up, and they're just like serving their term as softly as possible. But they still have to be in like Gen Pop because they have to be visible. So they have these guys whose job it is, if somebody farts, to go inhale the fart and blow it out the window. So that nobody has to smell it. Can you imagine being that dude?
Oh no.
Black Dolphin Prison. This high-security facility is home to approximately 700 inmates, but these are no ordinary prisoners. Collectively, they have committed around 3,500 murders, an average of 5 per inmate, earning Black Dolphin the reputation of housing the country's most brutal criminals, including serial killers, cannibals, and terrorists. The prison's informal name comes from a chilling statue at the front of the building, crafted by the prisoners themselves, a black dolphin, symbolizing the notion of freedom they can never attain. Here,
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. No, my chat froze.
Oh.
There you go. It's back.
the only escape is death, as all inmates are serving life sentences without the possibility of parole. The severity of their crimes is matched only by the severity of their punishment. Upon arrival, the inmates are stripped of their identities and subjected to a regime that is the very definition of harsh conditions. They live in a cell within a cell, where the space is so confined that 2 inmates share a mere 50 square feet. The cells are set back behind 3 sets of steel doors, ensuring that no whisper of hope for escape can penetrate their minds. The daily routine at Black Dolphin is meticulously designed to minimize any semblance of comfort or control. Inmates are kept under 24-hour video.
Bro. Lawless, what's up, bud? That's harsh, dude. They just the only place you can be comfortable is in your room with your cellmate. That's it. Everywhere else they frog march you around. Yeah, two men and a 6x9. That's right. El Perro gets it.
Video surveillance, with guards making rounds every 15 minutes to ensure constant vigilance. When prisoners leave their cells, they are forced to walk bent at the waist, a unique practice to Black Dolphin, which allows for maximum control and deprives the inmate of any view of his surroundings, thus preventing.
Hello, Mr.
Lawless, yee.
Yee.
Welcome in, D Froggies, welcome in. I think we missed you. Choppa.
We did miss D Froggies. I do apologize. I was over here having deep thoughts for a shallow mind.
Escape attempts or sudden attacks on guards. Blindfolds are a common sight when inmates are moved outside their cells, ensuring they never gain a comprehensive understanding of the prison layout. This disorientation adds to the psychological pressure they face daily. There is no prison yard at Black Dolphin. Instead, the exercise consists of pacing back and forth in a larger cell. During this time, their cells are rigorously checked for contraband. The absence of a cafeteria means that inmates eat all 4 meals a day in their cells, consisting mainly of soup and bread. They're only allowed possessions are books, newspapers, and a radio, which serve as their only connection to the outside world, a world they can only dream of. The stories of the inmates at Black Dolphin are as terrifying as the conditions they endure. Nikolai Ostankov, serving a life sentence for a gruesome family murder, speaks of the mental fortitude required to survive. If you constantly think about how you are here, what is waiting for you, that you won't ever get free, that you are left here alone, you simply won't make it, he says. The psychological toll is immense, with every aspect of their lives, from waking to sleeping, strictly regimented and
That's harsh, man. You imagine waking up some dude's bio odor in your mouth?
Ew.
You know what I mean? I've heard of the stare down on the pot.
Yeah.
Never been a fan of that concept. Although I'd probably be good at it.
Controlled, while you're still processing the levels of brutality convicts endure at Black Dolphin. It would be fair to spare some of that thought process because the next prison on this list is probably far worse. Comiti Maximum Prison, Kenya.
Okay, so do you believe that a Kenyan prison will be worse than a Russian prison? What's up, Dangsta?
Well, obviously.
Salute, brother. Welcome in. Good to see you. Appreciate you coming through.
Salute.
Salute. I
Salute.
ain't got no drinking right now. I'm not drinking tonight. We'll do that Friday. We're gonna do. So Rwanda. Is Rwanda worse than Russia, you reckon?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Kamiti Maximum Prison is located on the outskirts of Nairobi, Kenya. Established in the 1970s, this maximum security prison was designed to house some of the most dangerous criminals in the country. With its high walls, electric fences, and strict surveillance, Kamiti has become synonymous with the ultimate level of incarceration in Kenya. Originally built to detain a capacity of approximately 1,400 inmates, the prison has seen its population swell to numbers far exceeding its intended limit. The overcrowding has led to deplorable conditions, with inmates often forced to sleep on the floor due to a lack of beds and space.
Pero, I'm not going to highlight that one, but I understand.
Why not?
Yeah, all right. Choices. So many choices, but not that one.
Sanitation facilities are woefully inadequate for the number of prisoners, leading to outbreaks of diseases and a constant struggle for basic hygiene. Life inside Kamiti is a daily battle for survival, as stated by Omar Ismail, Stephen, and Tony, former inmates at Kamiti. In fact, they say the food provided is barely enough to sustain the human body, often lacking in both quantity and nutrition. Access to medical care is limited, and when available, it is often basic at best. The psychological toll on the inmates is immense, with reports of mental health issues being rampant within the prison walls. Here's the lowdown. At 8 p.m., prison cell doors are closed and prisoners gather in their dormitories for a head count. By 9 p.m., they are expected to be asleep. However, due to a shortage of bedding, inmates sleep on tattered mattresses with worn-out blankets, often sharing mattresses with 2 or 3 people. The lack of space is so severe that prisoners have to take turns lying down or turning over. The mattresses are in poor condition.
Okay, so you win, I lose. Apparently, Rwandan prisons are worse. I should have known it's in Africa. That's not going to go over
I mean,
well.
yeah, right. You have to look at the demographic of where the prison is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I hear you. I think you just said something racist, but I can't prove it. We're just going to move on.
Because inmates, lacking basic supplies like tissue paper, tear pieces off the mattresses to use in the restroom. The prison is also known for its strict regime. Inmates are connected to a little to no room.
Participation award.
Come out, go in as a tight end and come out as a wide receiver. Participation trophy for you, bro. It's all you, son. Sure.
Freedom. The guards are known for their uncompromising approach to discipline, and tales of brutality and human rights abuses have leaked out over the years. Despite these conditions, or perhaps because of them, Kamiti has been the site of several daring escape attempts, some of which have become the stuff of legend. One of the most sensational events in Kamiti's history occurred in the early 2000s, when a group of death row inmates managed to break out of their cells and scale the prison walls. This escape caused a nationwide manhunt and brought to light the resourcefulness and desperation of those incarcerated within Kamiti's confines. Another notable event that brought Kamiti into the spotlight was the capture and subsequent detention of members of the terrorist group Al-Shabaab. These high-profile inmates brought new challenges for the prison administration, including the need for heightened security measures to prevent any potential breakouts or internal attacks.
By the way, there is a quote running across the top of the screen. Anybody can tell me where that quote comes from. I will accept 2 separate answers, but only one is actually correct. You should be able to figure it out. Y'all are smart folks. It's up there at the top. Yeah, y'all go up there and look at it. See if y'all can tell me where it comes from.
Arguably, prisons are supposed to be places of reform. However, from what we can see, most of these prisons seem to be doing the opposite. But what does Terre Haute hold in store for us? Terre Haute Prison, USA. Founded in the 1940s, this Indiana-based institution...
Okay, I've already blown the top on this one, but Indiana, better or worse than Rwanda?
Well, I mean, I think it's better. I think it's going from the least to the worst in this.
Well, that's kind of funny because they got like 6 more to go in Indiana. They're not from the least to the worst. It can't be. It can't be. That Rwandan one's pretty freaking bad. That Russian one was pretty nasty too. I didn't like it. It's like the gulags.
Yeah. Right.
Institution was created as a symbol of modern correctional philosophy, distinctly different from the punitive prisons of the past. Yet, as the decades passed...
That is correct. That is the actual correct answer. I would have also accepted, was it 40 ounces to freedom?
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's from one of the songs of 40 Ounces of Freedom. Nice. Arden also gets a participation trophy. Congratulations. It's useless.
The prison evolved into a high-security complex, a repository for those deemed too dangerous or too notorious for regular facilities. The structure of Terre Haute Prison is divided into distinct parts, each serving a unique purpose in the federal correctional system. The maximum security penitentiary, the most formidable section, is a place of strict confinement, where surveillance is constant and freedom is a distant memory. Adjacent to it lies the medium-security Federal Correctional Institute and a low-security camp, completing a series of increasingly stringent control and isolation measures. Within the maximum security penitentiary, a special confinement unit stands out. It is here that...
What you want to bet they got tunnels going back and forth between them places.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
If you're going to set up 3 institutions that close together with the same purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't say I used to.
I don't do drugs. I just light trees on fire and inhale.
I just like the way it smells. It's a clip at the beginning of Sublime's cover of the Toys Weed Anthem Smoke 2 Joints from the 1992 album Freedom. Exactly. That is the second correct answer I would accept.
That federal death row inmates spend their days, often in solitary confinement, as they await the outcome of appeals or the execution of their sentence. The unit, which has been operational since the 1980s, can house up to 50 inmates, each confined to a small cell that becomes their world. The conditions in the special confinement unit have long been a subject of controversy. Reports have surfaced of grossly inadequate conditions, with inmates facing routine denial of basic medical care and mental health services. The American Civil Liberties Union in 2008 highlighted these issues, painting a bad picture of life on death row. The incessant noise, the lack of meaningful human interaction, and the relentless monotony are said to push the boundaries of psychological endurance. Inmates in the special confinement unit are confined to their cells for 22 to 24 hours a day, with meals delivered through a slot in the door. The only respite from this isolation is the thrice-weekly opportunity to spend time in outdoor cages, a far cry from true recreation. Communication with the outside world is severely limited, with inmates allowed sparse.
I had a buddy of mine who spent I think 2 years. He wasn't serving time for like high security or whatever, but he ended up in a high security cell mainly because the guy that he was charged with ended up being sent to a particular prison, and for whatever reason they just tagged him along with it, and so he spent like 2 years in like some sort of super high security prison somewhere. And homie said that when he went out on the quote unquote the yard, right, they went and put him in what they called the dog run. And the dog run was a steel box of chain link. It was like 20 foot long and 15 foot wide. And it was just tall enough that you could jump up and catch the chain link with your fingers. He said, and that's where they went to do pull-ups and stuff. And this man could literally peel a coconut with his fingers. Just his fingertips. He'd grab it and wiggle it back and forth and pull the husk off one side of it. Like the most amazing thing I ever seen. One of the most amazing performances of strength. It's crazy.
Crazy.
Use of a phone, email, or a library, all under strict supervision. 2 2-hour non-physical visits per month, 1 15-minute phone call per week, and all males subject to screening and evaluation. The notoriety of Terre Haute Prison is not just due to its current inmates, but also its history of executions. Since the reinstatement of the federal death penalty in the 1980s, a handful of inmates have been executed within its walls. The execution chamber, equipped for lethal injection, is a reminder of the ultimate punishment that the justice system can impose. You must be mistaken to think that the most dangerous prisons in the world only exist in Russia and the USA. Gitarama prison in Rwanda is the ultimate definition of hell in a cell. It's far worse here. Gitarama prison, Rwanda. In the wake of the 1994
Didn't we just cover this one?
No, that was in no.
Okay.
Genocide, Gitarama Prison transformed from a mere correctional institution into a nightmarish hellscape, where the very concept of human rights seemed to vanish into the thick, oppressive air that hung over its inmates. Originally constructed to house a mere 400 prisoners, Gitarama's walls were soon forced to contain an unthinkable number of souls. Over 2,000 men were packed into a space, so confined that each was...
Hold on already.
2,000 men packed into a 400 man.
Speaking Newfie and English does not count as bilingual.
allotted less than half a square yard to exist. Brigitte Troyon from the International Committee of Red Cross narrates that the overcrowding within the prison is so severe that the prisoners are deprived of the basic human need to lie down and rest. As such, prisoners are left standing for days and nights on end. The ground beneath their feet has also become a breeding ground for disease and infection, causing countless cases of amputations. Many prisoners, standing barefoot on wet and filthy floors, suffer from rotting feet. According to Brigitte, the air within the prison is heavy with the stench of human despair. The swell of voices, a cry of pain and pleading, is a constant reminder of the suffering that sweeps every inch of the facility. The conditions are so dire that visitors, upon entering, are immediately confronted with a sea of faces and a crush of bodies, a clear reflection of the inhumanity that unfolds within the prison walls. The medical facilities, or the lack thereof, are a death sentence in themselves. With only one full-time doctor and a handful of healthcare workers, the medical team is woefully ill-equipped to handle the increasing cases of skin.
All right, now don't you come in here speaking any of that crusted French froggy talk. I'll get upset.
I love him in BNT.
The nearby hospital at Kabgayi, also stretched beyond its limits, cannot accommodate the overwhelming need for emergency.
Goddamn autocorrect.
Right. All right, let me rephrase my previous statement. Speaking French and Newfie is not bilingual. Because I've heard your English. It ain't that great either.
Many prisoners to languish and die in the squalid courtyard. The living conditions have been so appalling that the International Committee of the Red Cross, along with other humanitarian organizations, have tried issuing urgent appeals for international intervention. Yet, despite these cries for help, the daily death toll with...
I read French better than I speak it, by the way. I can't say that, but I know what it means. You also know, it says that he speaks a little bit of French, but do I? Or rather, what is my excuse?
Welcome in,
Screw
son
you,
of
At
Odin.
least I'm an American.
Cheers.
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 Within Gitarama continues to climb, with half a dozen lives lost each day to the merciless grip of disease and neglect. Perhaps you've watched Prison Break, and doing comparisons with Gitarama here are nothing short of horrifying. At Gitarama, your chances of making it out alive are slim. There's no doubt Gitarama is hell on earth, but have you heard of the infamous ADX Florence Supermax prison? ADX Florence Supermax.
Have you heard of the infamous ADX Florence Supermax prison?
I have not.
Yeah. See, you might want to stick with that American.
American. I can speak American
too. Right. I'm not joking. You keep that shit up and I'm going to block you.
But can you read this shit backwards?
Yes, you can read it upside down and backwards, but I will block you out of
Can I read it down, upside, and words back? Shit. Yeah, I can.
Right. Something wrong with you.
Prison, USA. ADX Florence is the most secure prison in the United States. Here, daily life is a monotonous routine, properly designed to minimize human contact and maximize security. The cells at ADX Florence are not just rooms, they are concrete tombs where inmates spend 23 hours a day in solitude. Each cell is a mere 7 by 12 feet, with a thick, soundproof door and a small window that only allows a sliver of light to enter. The furniture is sparse and unyielding, with a concrete bed, desk, and stool all built into the structure.
I got an answer for this. Listen, the best way to speak Australian is to start by getting very drunk. You get really, really drunk, and when you wake up the next morning, it'll just happen for a little while before you rehydrate. You'll be like, oh, God, mate. What the bloody hell happened in my mouth? Right.
What the bloody hell?
We've got to get moving.
Down under. Very drunk.
Right. Very drunk. That's right. What's up, Adam87? Welcome in, bud.
of the room. A single fluorescent light provides a harsh, constant illumination, and the only splash of color comes from the inmates' jumpsuits and bedding. Travis Dusenbury, an ex-convict, recalls how they would always wake up to the sound.
After all, that's how they do it.
Of clanging doors as breakfast is delivered through a slot. Meals are taken alone in the silence of their cells. The food is simple and repetitive, with little variation to mark the days. As Travis states, after breakfast, they were allowed 1 hour of recreation. But even this is a solitary affair. They were escorted to a small outdoor cage, surrounded by high walls and razor wire, where they could walk in circles or simply stand, breathing in the fresh air that is so rare in their confined existence. Communication with the outside world is severely restricted. Inmates are allowed limited correspondence and monitored phone calls. These are privileges that can be revoked at any moment. The prison operates under a strict code of silence. Speaking to other inmates is forbidden, and the thick walls muffle any attempts at conversation. The only sanctioned interaction comes in the form of finger handshakes through the
Wow. Like,
so they literally touch the tip.
Whoa.
They touch the tips through the holes.
But no speaking? Wow.
Wouldn't want to plan, would you? Sounds like political prisoners to me, bro. Because who was it? Who was it that said it was Tyrion Lannister?
What?
Shut up. Let me finish the quote. When you cut a man's tongue out, you do not prove him a liar. You prove you fear what he will say.
Yes.
Mesh of the recreation cages, a fleeting touch that serves as a reminder of their shared humanity. The isolation is not just physical, it is psychological. The constant solitude takes a toll on the inmate's mental health, leading to a condition known as SHU syndrome, characterized by hallucinations, paranoia, and depression.
So I got a transgender friend of mine, and she decided she was a man several years ago. She got real drunk, called me up one night, and was wanting to complain about some dude she had met. He had met. They had met. Anyway, after about 30 minutes of just basically being not a very good man, I said, well, there's two ways I can approach this, and I want your honest opinion on it. Which way would you rather me approach it? Like, what do you mean? I can give you the advice I would give a man, or I can give you the advice I would give a woman. Give me the man's advice. Man up, take that D. Well, what advice would you give a woman? I wouldn't have to give advice to a woman. She would be interested in taking the D.
That's funny.
So for like 2 days, I get these freaking voicemails of just laughter. Because like every time you try to respond, it just makes you laugh again.
That's funny.
Advice is exactly what you make of it.
Despite this, mental health care is minimal, and inmates often struggle to cope with the overwhelming sense of despair that permeates the prison. For those who break the rules, the punishment is swift and severe. The Special Housing Unit, or SHU, is a place of even greater isolation, where inmates can be confined for days or weeks without any human contact. The guards, known colloquially as the Goon Squad, are equipped with riot gear and trained to suppress any form of dissent with overwhelming force. Life Florence is a cycle of repetition and deprivation designed to break the spirit of the inmates. The days blend into one another, marked only by the routine of meals, recreation, and lockdowns. The prison is a world unto itself, operating under its own rules and regulations, a place where the concept of rehabilitation is overshadowed by the imperative of control. That said, let's explore a specific prison in Argentina that over the recent years has caused an
Oh, this is relatively new too. This is relatively current. That's cool. So Argentinian prisons that apparently are still there. That's cool.
uproar due to how inmates are handled. Mendoza Prison, Argentina. Mendoza Prison is notorious for its deadly and violent riots. But what could be the reason for such restlessness? There has to be something. Mendoza Prison, originally designed to house 600 inmates, has seen its population swell to more than 1,600 individuals. The result is a...
You were just like, oh, so there is prisons in Argentina. That's cool.
According to Trump, they've all been emptied. They're all here now. And I mean, if you take a look at Aurora, at least Venezuela's pulled that one off. I mean, they seem to have taken over a small block in Aurora. And you know what weirds me out? until today, I have not seen a single auditor, supposed journalist that lives in Aurora and Denver even mention it. No one said a freaking word. Everybody's all lovey-dovey as hell talking about how all the new faces are beautiful and everything. And I'm like, but y'all literally have a small kingdom carved out of the middle of your city, and no one's doing anything about it. I mean, a couple of Florida men have straightened that right out in an afternoon in a 6-pack. There might be a case in their case, but you know what I mean.
The catastrophic level of overcrowding that has pushed the prison's capacity to
share
the buttons. I blame the buttons.
Breaking point and beyond. The cells within Mendoza prison, intended for solitary confinement, now hold 4 to 5 inmates each. Measuring only 2.6 meters by 1.8 meters, these cramped quarters force prisoners to take turns sleeping due to the lack of space. The overcrowding is so severe that many inmates find themselves relegated to the unforgiving concrete floor, devoid of mattresses or even basic bedding. Virginia Shoppy, a former prisoner at Mendoza, narrates that with a non-functioning sewage system, prisoners are left with no choice but to resort to using plastic bags and bottles as makeshift toilets, an affront to their dignity and
I mean, that's better than just anywhere.
It's better than Rwanda.
serious health hazard. The dire living conditions are further exacerbated by the scarcity of medical care. Inmates suffering from illnesses, both chronic and acute, find themselves in a desperate struggle for attention and treatment. Reports of untreated wounds, infections, and the rapid spread of contagious diseases are rampant, painting a dark picture of neglect and suffering. The lack of adequate healthcare has led to preventable deaths, with 22 inmates having lost their lives in circumstances shrouded in ambiguity and unanswered questions. Amnesty International has been a vocal critic of the conditions in Mendoza prison, highlighting the institution's failure to uphold basic human rights. In a memorandum addressed to the governor of Mendoza province, the organization detailed the appalling treatment of prisoners, including allegations of torture and ill treatment at the hands of prison staff. The memorandum called for an immediate and thorough investigation into these abuses,
Okay, so my understanding of that situation is that the apartments were all not HUD right, but they were apartments that were basically given to people from the city, and the city largely maintained those buildings with the owners basically just receiving a check. At some point in time, the owners stopped doing upgrade maintenance on one of the buildings, and that was around the same time that the gang activity became so heavy that their maintenance men refused to go in there. And so when you can't hire somebody willing to do it, what are you supposed to do? What can you do when no one is willing to go in there and do it? Personally, I would have called up the gang and been like, hey man, y'all need to do some repairs in there, and which one of your guys is going to be doing it? Right. You might think I'm nuts, but these people like to take a dump in a clean shitter too. So you know, you appeal to their humanity and not wanting their ass dirty, right? And maybe you can hire one of them to actually do the work, and maybe they'll actually do the work. You can take a shot at it. There's nothing wrong with that, I guess. But I'm speaking from like an interior perspective here, right? Yeah. On the other hand, yeah, you start shutting down services to the buildings. Once the people that you have leases with are mostly out of the building, you shut down services to that building and just shrug at everybody when they try to complain, because you don't have to provide services. But yeah, apparently I think it's 2 or 3 different little complexes over there in the same area have all been taken by the same gang that all seem to work for the same company. Weird, huh?
Yeah, weird.
Funding accountability and the implementation of measures to safeguard the rights of those incarcerated. The psychological impact of living in such an environment cannot be overstated. The constant threat of violence, the arbitrary imposition of punishments, and the prolonged periods of confinement in overcrowded cells take a heavy toll on the mental health of inmates. Incidents of self-harm and suicide attempts are not uncommon, as many prisoners struggle to cope with the relentless pressure and hopelessness that pervade their daily existence. Now, Mendoza could be home to to some of the hardcore criminals. But have you thought of what prisons could look like in Turkey? Diyarbakir Prison, Turkey.
Right,
constructed in 1980.
Turkey is one of those places that historically are renowned for having the worst prisons and bathhouses. But prisons, honestly, just covering bases here, because I mean, there's very few prison stories that come out of the Crusades that does not involve Turkey. Just saying.
Just saying.
By the Ministry of Justice, this institution quickly became the epicenter of controversy and a symbol of oppression, particularly against the Kurdish population. Following the coup in September 1980, the prison was converted into a martial law military detention center. Over 650,000 individuals were incarcerated, and the ensuing period, known infamously as the Period of Barbarity, saw widespread and systematic torture. The walls of Diyarbakir have absorbed the echoes of suffering, as prisoners are subjected to inhumane treatment. Reports of electric shocks delivered to the most sensitive parts of the human body, the extraction of nails and teeth, and the haunting presence of a trained German shepherd named Joe, whose sole purpose is to inflict genital torture, paint a picture of a living hell on earth. The dog's notoriety.
Come on now. Read that one in a Stephen King book. I don't believe you. Right? That's the long walk every day of the week.
Right.
I do believe y'all would recognize it as a little movie called Stand By Me.
Stand by me.
Nope. That's Lean on Me, baby. It's a totally different movie. Equally great, I might add.
Call me out.
Dude, Morgan Freeman killed it in that role.
And the sensory nightmares it created for the prisoners became a dark legend within the prison's history. The abuse is not limited to physical torment. Psychological warfare is equally waged against the inmates, with mock executions and threats of sexual violence used to break their spirits. The prison's environment is designed to dehumanize.
Could you imagine it? Could you imagine it? You're sitting around one night, it's freaking 4 o'clock in the morning, and suddenly the goon squad bumps in on your bed, pins your neighbor to the ground, snatches you up, sticks you in the turtle suit that makes you love yourself, drags you down the hallway, stands you up on a damn chair, puts a noose around your neck, reads you your last rites, and kicks the bucket. You fall over on the ground, and they laugh and go back to what they were doing.
It's crazy. I mean,
it's crazy the first time it happens. Stark raving that shit mad the second time. That's fucked up. Yeah, the big hug jacket. That's right.
I mean, humanize its occupants,
population control,
and reducing them.
No, man. That is just torture. That's beyond there, dude. Canadians haven't even tried that yet.
To mere shadows of their former selves. Overcrowding is also a critical issue, with reports of prisoners asphyxiating in tightly packed cells, their bodies piled atop one another.
The screen.
The Kurdish prisoners.
Click the button.
Buttons need clicking.
There you go.
Something to say?
There you go.
Got something to say?
Havoc, welcome in.
Saying something?
No.
Here, you can say it.
No.
Sure.
Click the button.
All right.
Let us
bore the brunt of the brutality, as the prison has become a tool for forced assimilation and suppression of Kurdish identity. The systematic torture at Diyarbakir fueled the rise of the Kurdistan Workers' Party, or PKK, which continues to resist the Turkish state to this day. Despite the horrors, the resilience of the human spirit shines through. Nuran Chamla Marashlu, an ex-convict, recalls the harrowing conditions, stating, "We were 75 women in a ward for 25 prisoners. As women, we are not equal to men, but in the Diyarbakir dungeon, we were equal relating to torture, isolation, military drills, etc. For years we did in prison what soldiers do in their barracks." Her testimony, along with countless others, has shed light on the atrocities committed within these walls. The prison's notoriety has reached international levels, with human rights organizations flagging the violations. In 2010, the European courts found breaches of the articles after a massacre in a visiting room left 8 prisoners dead. The Turkish government's claim of a riot was met with skepticism, as the pattern of abuse and death within Diyarbakir was well documented. Most governments are always geared up with unreasonable explanations anytime something inhumane happens in a correctional facility. This even leaves you more puzzled. What value do we give to human life? Well, at least in the case of Diyarbakir, there's some level of transparency and outsiders can have a say. However, that's not the case in this next prison. Camp 14, Kachon Prison.
Where is Camp 14, do you reckon? Is this
I have
going to be
no
like
idea.
Korea? Are we going to be in? I don't think Morgan Freeman married his granddaughter. That would be highly unusual.
North Korea. Located approximately 55 miles north of Pyongyang, North Korea, this political prison camp, also known as Kwanliso number 14, is a facility.
Keep trying, you'll bounce that can right. I'm sorry.
Where the very concept of human rights is non-existent. The camp, sprawling over 60 square miles, is a kingdom of cruelty designed to punish those deemed enemies of the state. The prisoners, estimated to be around 15,000, are subjected to conditions that defy the imagination. They are the unfortunate souls caught in the unforgiving grip of a policy known as 3 generations of punishment, where not just the individual accused of a crime, but their entire family is incarcerated, often for life. Within the confines of Camp 14, the prisoners are stripped of their names and their identities and reduced to mere numbers. They are forced into backbreaking labor, mining coal, tending to pigs, and farming fields from dawn till dusk. The food rations are...
Okay, so I'm aware this is in North Korea, but it sounds an awful like growing up on my farm.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's not very different. I mean, backbreaking labor, inhumane treatment.
Are meager, leading to widespread malnutrition and starvation. A single mistake, a moment's rest, or a perceived act of defiance can result in brutal beatings or public executions, serving as a stern warning to others. Shin Dong-hyuk's experience in Camp 14 is a reflection of the human will to survive against all odds. Born into the camp as a result of his father's alleged crimes, Shin never knew the warmth of family love or the freedom of choice. His life was a cycle of forced labor, constant hunger, and fear. At the tender age of 14, he faced torture by fire for a failed escape attempt by his mother and brother, an event that led to their execution and his indelible scars, both physical and emotional. Shin's account, as detailed in his book Escape to the Outside World, paints a vivid picture of the daily horrors faced by the inmates, the rape of his cousin by prison guards, the execution of a young girl for the possession of a few grains of wheat.
You know what the difference between intelligence and wisdom is?
What?
Intelligence is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is not putting it in a fruit salad.
I like that
And
one.
the constant surveillance under which they lived are just a few examples of the atrocities committed within the camp's electrified fences. The broader implications of Camp 14's existence are far-reaching. It stands as a symbol of North Korea's blatant disregard for international human rights norms and the rule of law. The camp's operation fuels tensions in international relations as global powers grapple with the challenge of addressing such violations.
All right, so here's what you don't know there, Joey. Well, Joey, it's okay. We're all going to be good friends here because I'm actually a woman. She's actually a man, and we're actually a couple. We've even got a kid being raised by a third-party baby. Come harder. Bring it.
Oh, my goodness.
Time. What to do? Now what? Oh, no. Oh no.
While navigating the complexities of diplomacy with a reclusive and unpredictable regime. On one hand, we could argue North Korea is a country ruled by a dictator, and by that, prison conditions at Camp 14 are not a surprise. However, why would a democratic state like Georgia tolerate inhumane treatment within its correctional facilities? Guldani Prison.
Cause it's hot. Wait,
Georgia.
No, that's a different,
Georgia.
right? I mean, it ain't nearly as hot over there as it is over here. You know, they predict air conditioner in this motherfucker one year.
Right.
Georgia. Guldani Prison, located in the Georgian capital of Tbilisi, is notorious for its brutal conditions and harrowing human rights violations, making it one of the most dangerous prisons on earth. Officially known as Penitentiary Institution Number 8, Guldani has gained international infamy, especially after a series of disturbing incidents came to light in the early 2010s.
Ardit, come on, man. You really got to work over your freaking autocorrect. It's killing you, dude. It's not Marcy Beaucret. It's Merci Beaucoup. It's killing you, bro.
Highlighting systemic abuse, corruption, and inhumane treatment of inmates. The prison's notoriety peaked in 2012 when a shocking video footage surfaced, showing prisoners being subjected to severe beatings, sexual abuse, and torture by prison guards. These videos, broadcast by Georgian television channels, sparked domestic and international outrage, leading to mass protests in Georgia and significant political repercussions. The public disclosure of these abuses resulted in the resignation of several high-ranking officials, including the Minister of Corrections, and played a pivotal role in the electoral defeat of the then ruling party. Conditions in Guldani Prison are deplorable. Overcrowding is a chronic issue, with cells often holding...
I knew that, Ardit. But here's the thing. My initial response was what I thought of was to say, Marcy Bucket. Instead of just do a three-way complete confusion. But I decided to throw you a bone there, bud. Letting you in on the you can play along. Hey Cliff, how you doing? You want to play along?
Welcome in, Cliff.
Yes, that's all. You okay? AJoT, you good?
I'm good.
You want to take a lap, maybe take a breather? Catch up. Hi.
Hi. How you doing?
Double or triple their intended capacity. This severe overcrowding exacerbates tensions among inmates, leading to frequent violent confrontations. Necessities such as adequate food, clean water, and medical care are insufficient, contributing to a deteriorating health situation within the prison walls. Inmates report living in unsanitary conditions with limited access to hygiene products and facilities, heightening the risk of infectious disease.
I can't do a French accent, but I can pull off a pretty decent Cajun one after I do it for a little while. I got to hear somebody do it, and then I'll start talking to them in the same accent. It's the weirdest shit. Boy, there's at least one person in the road what don't pay attention to when I'm live, because he's calling me right now.
There usually is.
Yeah,
no, but he's supposed to be here.
Torture of prisoners are systematic and deeply entrenched. Reports from former inmates and human rights organizations reveal a culture of impunity among prison staff who routinely engage in physical and psychological abuse. Torture methods include severe beatings, prolonged solitary confinement in tiny, dark cells, and various forms of sexual abuse. Such treatments are not only punitive, but are also used as a means to extract confessions or to punish those who defy the prison's authority. One anonymous ex-convict recalls the torture they were subjected to in detail. They were beating me. They were insulting me. During torture, they drowned me in a bucket full of water and threatened me with The ex-convict further states, they tore off my fingernails, damaged my skull, broke my leg bones, ribs, nose, and teeth. I am 43 years old, but look like an old man. I often fall down while I am walking. Corruption is also rampant within Guldani Prison. Guards and officials often extort money from prisoners and their families in exchange for basic privileges or protection. This exploitation exacerbates the already dire conditions, as those without financial means are left more vulnerable to abuse and neglect. Furthermore, the 2016 report by the Georgian Parliament's Human Rights and Civil Integration Committee documented torture incidents in Georgia from 2004 to 2012. Victims reported severe abuse, including being struck on the head with a gun butt, having their wrists broken by a guard's boot, and being coerced to provide evidence under the influence of sleeping pills.
Are we sure this isn't my Georgia? That sounds an awful lot like my Georgia.
I mean, it's in Georgia. Your Georgia.
Is it in my Georgia?
Yes.
We moved on to another. I'm sorry. Midlife was trying to call me, and I was trying to answer, but it didn't work. He couldn't hear me, and I didn't care, and there was nothing I could do about it. So I gave up. So this is my Georgia. That makes sense.
Well, the horrors happening at Guldani, Committee, or even Terre Haute are brutal.
Yeah, no, they're pretty bad. I mean, all of that. Nobody wants to go to prison. I think we all know this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't want to go to prison. I don't want to go to prison. I don't even want to go visit a motherfucker in prison. Just because. I mean, I'd have to get up.
I would prefer not to, right?
I would rather not to. I will. I have.
Right.
Right. And that might be something, you know, that I need to work on with myself. So
Sorry, bro. Sorry, bro.
Right. Yeah, that's a me problem, not a you problem. Listen, I think we might have covered part. You're good, bud. You're good. Just hit me up in about an hour. We'll be straight. Or drop me a freaking message. That'll work too. Rose is a horrible liar. We covered part of this once before. It was the very tail end of one of our shows, and I promised I'd go back and cover the whole thing.
Okay.
And I think me and you actually went over it together backstage a while back because it's such a weird situation. Home chick seems to believe that if she simply says something, it makes it true.
Right.
You know those people, have you ever met them? They're also the same people who think they can actually read other people's minds, that they know what you're thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one of my pet peeves. When somebody tells me they know what I'm thinking, bitch, I'm deranged. There's no way in hell. I am certifiably nuts. If you know what I'm thinking, you got worse problems than I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm thinking. Right.
Well, I spend most of my time explaining myself to other people because they can't figure out what I just said, but they're certain they need something. All right. So this is Rose. Rose is a horrible liar.
Adam, if you are seeing this, can you please come home to your family? They really do miss you. And if anybody knows where Adam is, please contact the Ontario County Sheriffs. So this way the family can know how he is and that he's okay.
This is 31-year-old Rose Chase. As alluded to during this news clip, Rose's husband and high school sweetheart, Adam, had been missing for about 6 weeks before this video was shot. For most, her strange behavior can be felt within the first few moments, as her eye direction shifts all around the room, seeking affirmation from those surrounding her. And
is that an unusual thing for a distraught person to do?
6 weeks later, yeah.
Is that too long, too short? Like
too long. Like she's just acting weird.
Dude, have you ever met a prison guard? I could seduce them. Ain't hard. Male or female, I don't care.
Bow chicka wow wow.
We'll touch the tips or the lips. I don't mind.
She constantly refers to their family as his family, or as she put it, your family instead of our family.
Can you please come home to your family?
She does this again by stating,
yeah, that is a bit. All that implies is that she's already in her own mind moved on, but that could have been her thinking about leaving and having actually pulled the trigger on it, or her planning to kill him and having now
and pulling the trigger on it.
Yes, you get it. You get it. I like it. You're a smart cookie.
Brown chicken, brown
how much
cow.
they miss him.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
They do miss you.
If there was one
by
thing,
the way, smash or pass?
Oh, definitely pass. Like pass.
I don't know. Crazy's kind of hot.
No, crazy is hot on the right body. I mean, I don't know. Not that body.
That's not
just me.
Or is it just you?
What?
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 Take note of as we dive deeper into this video. It's that Rose is a horrible liar. Let's now start at the beginning. On June 14th, 2012, in a home located at 2215 Mont Road, Ontario County, New York, a 31-year-old man named Adam Chase and his wife Rose both stayed home from work as they needed time to work on their marriage following a very serious disagreement. During that evening, Adam stopped replying to texts and phone calls from his friends.
Right? She sounds like she's trying to bitch at him from beyond the grave to me, man. Like, I don't know. I don't like this woman. I don't.
and family. His lack of response continues into the following day, and his mother becomes increasingly concerned. Adam's mother then calls Rose and asks if she knows where Adam is. Rose replies that she and Adam had gotten into an argument, which started to get physical. Adam had accused her of cheating on him and then stormed out of the house on foot. He didn't take his phone, wallet, or vehicle with him and said to Rose on his way out that she will never see him again. Rose also explained that she had felt that Adam was bluffing and that he would obviously come back later that evening, since the two have a 4-year-old son together named Tristan. Adam's mom, Sylvia, found this narrative quite strange and immediately called the police to report Adam missing. She tells the police that in the week before Adam went missing, she was sent a picture of Rose cheating on Adam with another man. She confronted Rose about this picture, and Rose denied having the affair, stating that the man in the picture was just a friend, a gay friend. When Rose wouldn't own up to it.
He's just a friend.
Did you say he's just a friend? Oh, baby, you.
You.
Hands between my knees.
My knees.
Right? That's just a friend, y'all. We just friends. We just good friends. Good friends. Now, the way he's got his legs crossed implies he might be gay. Or he might be trying to hide the wood.
I mean,
either way, she
trevored up. Maybe, you know, there's just, I mean.
Maybe it was hanging out the hemline. With some long shorts. Maybe there's a reason she's cheating. You ever thought of that? No.
Oh, baby, I like it raw.
And Rose denied having the affair, stating that the man in the picture was just.
You got to remember that was some visceral. Well, I like it raw.
Yeah.
he's growling that shit. Adam found the Adam's apple, Adam's apple of his life. Oh my God. Don't be so mean.
Just a friend, a gay friend. When Rose wouldn't own up to it, Sylvia then sent the picture to her son Adam just 2 days before he went missing on June 12th. The day after filing the report, on June 16th, 2012, 2 investigators followed up by visiting the home of Adam and Rose. Rose answered the door, and the 2 officers briefly interviewed her regarding the argument and Adam's potential whereabouts. Rose tells these officers the same story that she told to Adam's mom, but this time with slightly more information. She now says that Adam had approached her.
Izzy is absolutely savage. I'm slightly aroused by that.
Yeah, no.
Might say more about me than it does her, but it says a lot about her. Right?
Regarding the picture that he was given of Rose cheating with this other man named Mark, as the 2 sat on a bench at a nearby park. Rose confirmed that she was in fact having an affair, and that it was Adam's fault, as all he would ever do was play video games and watch TV, neglecting their relationship and not giving her enough attention. During this argument, Adam brought up his concern regarding whether or not
all right, John, that's a participation trophy for you, bud. You get it right there. That's you.
Rose then told Adam that she was confident that it was not his son. So Adam became enraged, punched a hole in the wall, and stormed out. She repeated that Adam left on foot, he did not bring any belongings with him, and that he said that she would never see him again. Although quite suspicious, investigators chalked this up as no marriage.
You know what would have fixed this relationship?
What?
To pluck that unibrow.
Marriage is perfect, and continued on their way. They returned to the house 2 days later, on June 18th. This time, they brought a cadaver dog with them. They asked Rose if they can search the premises, and Rose reluctantly agreed. They walked through the main floor and the upstairs bedrooms, taking note of how messy and unorganized the home appeared to be. There was a different smell emanating from each room, but the worst smell of all came from the basement. The cadaver dog also seemed to smell that maybe something was downstairs. As they entered,
that's a likely story, Adam. That's what guilty always say. It's also what Shaggy said.
enter the basement, Rose explains that the putrid smell was coming from dead rats that constantly break in, eat rat poison, and die throughout the basement. She also stated that there were several bags of rotting garbage stacked up down there that were definitely contributing to the smell. The officers walk through the basement and do in fact see a massive pile of garbage, as well as several different dead and decomposing rodents. They do not spend long. They are inclined to believe that Rose's claims regarding the smell are accurate. They then leave and thank Rose for her cooperation. The next day, on June 19th, 2012, Adam's mother...
Havoc, you have a point. You can source those a lot cheaper. in 10 to 20 years, bro. Life is
Life.
no life.
Life.
And father both received the same identical text message from Adam.
Chase's sisters say there were 2 texts on June 19th, one to each of their parents.
It said, staying with a friend in Canandaigua, need time to think.
After receiving these messages, Sylvia immediately places a call to Adam's phone, which is quickly forwarded to voicemail. They both felt that this message was strange and not sent by Adam. Investigators quickly determined that these messages were sent from the city of Canandaigua.
Okay, so your chat's starting to creep me out a little bit. But I'm assuming we're still talking about roses. Although I don't know what John's talking about. John has got his mind in a place. We're not this is YouTube, bro. We can't go that far down that road. Get me after. I might have $20. Who knows?
Wow. But when police responded to the area where the messages came from, Adam over the following 5 months, search efforts ramped up, and Adam's family continued to contact news stations with the hopes of locating their missing son.
Ontario County Sheriff's deputies are asking for your help tonight, finding a missing man. They say 31-year-old Adam Chase went missing on June 14th.
Adam, if you can hear this, you have a place to come home to.
This is my pet duck, Adam. Going for his first
Adam, if you can hear this, you can come home.
Right. Sure you can.
That sounded unempathetic. I apologize. Go fuck yourselves.
You willing to do like you want to try to go for an Oscar?
Sure.
Okay. Try that line again, but this time.
Oh, I can't do it again.
Adam, you can come home. How's that?
Yeah, this is good.
Okay. Okay.
If you can hear this, you can come home.
In heaven or hell?
In heaven.
Like, are we
Heaven
echoing
or
across purgatory with this statement? How far are we going? We can, but YouTube would strike us again. Damn right. I got another 90 days. Because I'm too funny. I wish you'd have seen that one, man. That shit almost killed me when I saw it. And I made it. So, like, I know that. I mean, I went back. I must have been 50 of my own views on that one because I kept turning it up, showing people, hey, look at this stupidity. And they'd be like,
whichever. Just come home. That's it.
Rose would attend these news interviews and press conferences with the rest of the family. However, she always appeared uninterested or just plain over it. It was also around the time of this particular press conference that Rose stated that the man that she was seen kissing in the photograph was now her new full-time boyfriend. He had even moved where Rose and Adam had lived. This did not go unnoticed.
Right.
You don't say.
You just, that's what a, just got, you I can't, like, really? Can you imagine being the investigator on this one and finding out that the guy in the picture moved into the house, like, what, 6 weeks after?
Mm-hmm.
All right. At what point in time do you move on? Not during the open investigation.
Exactly.
Unless you know they're dead. You got a week not posting in 90 days for an 8-second historical video.
Wow.
Bro, dude, I did a funny joke based off Florida man and alligator.
They got you for that 8-second video. Like, wow.
Bro, we should just sit backstage, drink liquor, and talk shit about YouTube. I'm so down. I haven't done that in so long. You know, I had decided I was going to monetize if I spent a month without a strike, and the day before, like, the hammer dropped on it.
You were never going to monetize. Shut the fuck up.
The discussion has been had. The system has been figured out. I just have not implemented it, right? And I was
Not gonna work.
I was actually down at the Waffle House talking to somebody that works at the bank about how to go
You
about
need to
doing.
quit talking to them people at the Waffle House. They're not helping
No,
you.
this wasn't someone that worked at the Waffle House. This is someone
Oh.
that worked at the bank, at my
Okay.
bank specifically.
That
So,
was
like,
at the Waffle House.
yeah. He
Okay.
just showed up, was like, "Hey, what's up?" Sat down. I was like, I got a YouTube channel, and I explained to him what my situation was, what my problem was. He's like, "Okay, well, I can do that." And I was like, "Cool," because I don't want to tangle up that in everything else. I want it to stand by itself. If it's gonna do anything, it has to do it alone. Just like me.
And Adam's family became even more determined to link his disappearance to Rose, as they all felt that she had become distant and was not putting any energy into helping locate him. So in November of 2012, they went on to hire a family friend and private investigator named Rodney G. Miller to help with the case. Rodney's...
Hold up.
What waffling?
What waffling? Hey, listen. First of all, hold up. Let me do this right. First of all, if your Waffle House staff,
Waffling, you twat waffling.
if your Waffle House staff isn't willing to help you out, buddy, you're not living right. Second, do you have any idea why Waffle House employees use ice picks to flip waffles? Because this bulletproof vest doesn't stop an ice pick.
His first course of action was to speak directly with Rose. So in mid-November, he visits Rose at home and introduces himself. He asks if she has any information that could possibly help him. And she seems withdrawn while replying that she told investigators everything that she knows. Rodney then asks if he can walk through the house. Rose agrees, and Rodney walks through the entire home, also noticing how filthy it really was. In the basement, he also notices the distinct odor of decomposition. Rose tells him the exact same story about the dead rats and old garbage. Rodney reluctantly believes her story and then leaves the house. On his way out of the house, he walked past a living room where a TV was turned on. He sees that Rose's boyfriend was relaxing on the couch and watching TV, seemingly very comfortable. Rodney then warns Rose that if Adam were to ever return home to that man living in his house, he won't be very happy, and it could even lead...
Marty has a point here. The bulletproof vest does not stop chairs, but if you you do not want to throw a chair in the Waffle House, they have far more levels in chair throwing than you do. I mean, let's be honest, how many chairs have you tossed? What, maybe one at a funeral, one at a wedding? These are Waffle House staff. They do it twice a week. In fact, I'm trying to talk my local Waffle House into doing something like a Olympics of like Waffle House activities. It'd be how many times? Yeah, right. I want to see who can throw a chair the farthest. See who can throw a chair the farthest. See who can sling a drink the farthest. This might work. Oh no.
Yeah, let me know, because I can go to my local Waffle House and see if I can get some participation. You never know.
Name 2 waitresses at your local Waffle House.
I don't go to my Waffle
I
House.
don't believe you.
The two men. Rose then replies that she was done with Adam. She did not want
welcome
him
in.
if he did come home. She
What up,
was sick
Rockport?
of him. Rodney
Welcome
found this
back,
response
Lawless.
strange, but continued on his way out of the house.
Waffle discus, weave whipping.
Oh yeah. There you go.
No, I'm just picturing my Waffle House staff lined up in the parking lot out here throwing weaves. That's a billion views, not a million. That's a billion views. Oh.
As he returned to his car, he felt certain that Rose was far more involved in Adam's disappearance than she has been saying she is. He contacts Adam's parents and tells them that he's fairly confident that this should not be a missing persons case. Instead,
Customer
that he
judo.
believes that a homicide has taken place. Over the following weeks, Rodney hatches a plan. He was determined to corner Rose into admitting that more had happened to Adam than she was leading on. So he locates Rose's usual babysitter named Sandy and asks her to help him out. She agrees, and they discuss the plan. Shortly after
Scotty
speaking
Wallace.
with Rodney, Sandy was then contacted by Rose on December 12th, and Rose had asked if Sandy could take her son Tristan for the night. Sandy says no problem, and so Rose drops off her son for the night. She returns the next morning on December 13th to pick him up. When she arrives, Sandy tells her that she had heard that the police had made a breakthrough in Adam's case and were planning to make an arrest sometime over the next 48 hours. Apparently, Rose immediately started to shake and her skin turned extremely pale. She then said that she needed to go. As soon as Rose drove off, Sandy called Rodney and told him, "This is the time, go now." So Rodney drove straight to Rose's home and approached her as she was entering the house. He informed her that he had built a strong enough case against her that he believes that she will be charged with murder over the next 48 hours. He says that he may be able to help her as long as she tells him where she buried Adam's body. He also stated that he knows that she had the body in the house based on the way it smelt when he walked through it. Rose replied, "I didn't bury it. I burned it." She then explained that Adam's body had been in her basement for several weeks and had heavily decomposed. She then loaded him into the car piece by piece and drove his remains to her mother's property on Haggerty Road in Potter, Yates County. She had actually transported these remains with their 4-year-old son in the vehicle. Rodney Miller contacted the police and informed them,
"She's a man killer."
Wow.
I mean, there's some things you just get a babysitter for.
Right. Right. She's the
I thought with
keeper.
her, she's a keeper. Welcome in, bud. Good to see you. You're going to get a participation trophy for that, too. That's good. So you're saying a definite smash, huh?
them of this breakthrough. The police rushed to the Haggerty Road property and located several bones scattered throughout the burn pit. Rose was quickly apprehended and transported back to the Ontario County Police Station, where she took part in an interview. The first thing that investigators wanted to know is where Adam's body was when they walked through the home with the cadaver dog.
So when we were in there the night that we came over, me and Investigator Durgan, where in the basement was it?
The part that I told you the light wouldn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I had kids along the wall,
Mm-hmm.
and he was underneath all that stuff. That was
Welcome in, make stupid people famous.
New meaning to babysitter.
Right. She was with her father all day.
Horrible. Horrible. Hit the button.
You hear the popping?
No, I don't
Yeah,
hear
right.
nothing. Oh, but I
Cool.
got echo. Oh,
Give
no,
it a
I
second.
don't.
Just give it a second. It has to finish loading up. You know, because we're using bargain basement program. Scraping the bottom of the barrel on this here PC.
Sasquatch and Jot sounds like a Waffle House Olympics event, right?
Sasquatch and Jot.
Squatch and Jot. Squatch and Jot. Squatch and Jot.
Careful, we're going to invent a new sexually transmitted disease and name it after us.
corner.
Okay. All right. How'd you get him there? By yourself?
Mm-hmm.
And he's a pretty big guy. And, you know, when somebody can't move, it's hard to move.
It was very difficult.
Okay.
I will admit it was.
I will admit it. It was difficult.
Explain what actually.
You ever tried to move a dead animal?
No, but moving the head, I mean, moving dead weight, yes. I mean, I've tried to move dead weight before.
Well, the thing about it being an animal of some sort is that it's kind of like trying to pick up a bag of stuff with bones in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you try to pick up a bag full of liquid, it kind of flows out of your hands. You know, it's almost impossible. It's like that. Allegedly.
Actually happened to Adam that caused his death.
The day that he called into work, that one has happened. Okay. Well, what happened?
Waffle twat slur up. Slur up.
Ew.
Slur up. Waffle twat slur up.
It sounds like an ointment you use to treat waffle twat.
work, so this way we could work things out.
Okay.
He went back to sleep after he called.
Yeah, ew.
I tried waking him up. It took me a while, but he finally got up. He went upstairs to grab a smoke. Then he started going on the computer. And I go, I thought we were going to talk about this. Started arguing again about the fact that
Welcome in, Jonathan. Good to see you, bud. This girl's created death and has no liberty.
Nice.
And I go, yeah, it was only a test.
Two-timing is the only way to go.
Well, you told me last night that we're going
Personally,
straddle it, baby. Straddle it.
I prefer 3 ways.
to get a DNA test done on Tristan. I told him then, no need, Tristan's not yours. He got furious, punched the wall.
Okay, and that was the hole that we saw.
I went to grab him. He did push me away. I went to grab him again, and I don't know how.
He fell on my knife 176 times, Your Honor. He was attacking me and wouldn't stop. While I was laying on the ground defenseless, holding my knife, he fell on it 136 times. I'm aroused.
If he tried to push me away again, or if I tried to grabbed him wrong, but his foot caught the stairs and he tumbled down the stairs. I remember it was a sunny day and the light was coming in from the window right there. So I grabbed him. He went to push me away again. That's when his right foot caught the edge of the.
That was an S away from being highly offensive.
Stairs and he just tumbled.
The biggest problem with Rose's story is that if it really was an accident, all she would have needed to do is call 911 to report the fall, which would have gotten Adam immediate medical attention. Since the remains were already destroyed, there was not enough evidence to determine whether or not Rose's story was even credible. That being said, this statement from Rose is what investigators had to work with in order to gain a conviction against her, be it truthful or not. So they ask her directly why she didn't call the police.
I guess what I'm having trouble with is if this was him falling down the stairs, why do we go through all this? I mean, what do we go through all this for? Help me figure this out, because
At first, I thought everyone was going to think it was murder.
Is it because I would be surprised to find out that she didn't TikTok her freaking murder. Like standing at the top of the square stairs doing duck face and ear to tip him over.
I mean, it has been done. Not knowing.
I think we've got one of those in the later round at Live if we get to it. I think so.
Then when after I hid the body and the dogs came in, I thought I got pretty lucky. I was going to turn myself in several times. But the thing that kept guiding me away from turning myself in
is my son.
Was how his family acted.
What do you mean by that?
As in, what they were doing was, making it.
'Cause all we are is dust in the wind.
Pissing me off. How about they were, saying that I did all this stuff without physical evidence, and it really pissed me off, and I just wanted.
So this drags on mostly because of their treatment of you after this happens?
Correct.
Is that okay? All right.
Not only is Rose a horrible liar, but she is also deluded while exhibiting symptoms of obsessive compulsive disorder and narcissistic personality disorder. Instead of trying to save her high school sweetheart's life, she became convinced that everyone around her would immediately believe that she was a murderer. So she took every step that she could think of to remain in control of their perception, while having no regard for human life. When Adam's family saw through her lies and began to believe that Rose did in fact murder their son, she acted resentfully and took whatever steps she felt could negate their belief.
That's it. 5 by 5. Havoc nailed it. The thing that kept me away from turning myself in was because I thought I might get away with it.
Right.
Especially
Right.
once that body was burned, she thought she was shoe in. She got it nailed now, right?
Right. Wrong.
The long arm of the law.
Beliefs. During all of this, one thing that investigators could confirm was that Rose did in fact go to extremes in order to dispose of her husband's body.
When you were taking him out of the house, did you cut him up or anything? Did you need any tools or anything? Or
No,
because if you did, where would those be?
he just fell apart.
Okay. All right. How long have you been there?
No. Just no. 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 I have handled dead pigs, dead horses, dead cows, dead goats, dead deer of various descriptions. You name it. It doesn't just fall apart. I don't care how long it's laid there dead. It does just no. And if it did, the floor in that place would smell like refried hell.
Yeah.
Charnel house. Yeah.
He's been there about
You don't clean that up.
8 weeks.
Okay.
Following this interview, Rose was charged with second-degree murder, tampering with evidence,
Goddamn,
and
Havoc,
endangering
just
the welfare of a
dude,
child. Throughout her
hit
court
me again,
proceedings,
Ike.
she
This time
stuck to
put
her
some
claim
stank
that
on it.
Adam's death had happened as the result of an accident, and that Adam had died when he fell down the first set of stairs. Although she admitted to pushing him down the second set of stairs into the basement, she stated that she was confident he had already died from the first accidental fall before she did so. Rose
Yeah.
claims that she then covered his
was
body.
Absolutely confident because she did a slam dance mosh on the back of his neck just to be sure, because you don't want to shove him down in the basement unless he's, deceased, ceased to be, passed, sprung forth from this mortal coil.
Up with a blue kiddie pool and then stacked lumber and several bags of garbage on top of it. Adam's body was still in this position during the initial search, while investigators were accompanied by the cadaver dog. Rose's trial began in October of 2013. During the prosecution's opening statement, Ontario County District Attorney R. Michael Tantillo told the jurors that as they hear the evidence and view the video of...
Hello, Nevaeh. Welcome in. It is goodness.
Hello.
Oh, you are there. Thought you had abandoned me.
No.
Not need. Okay.
No.
Rose's interrogation, it will become crystal clear that this was no accident. Instead, it was a crime of passion in which Rose chose not to call for medical assistance. Then she took the steps to cover up his death and dispose of his body. During the defense's opening statement, public defender Leanne Labb urged the jurors to keep an open mind and not jump to any conclusions, proclaiming that what happened to Adam...
All right. She murdered him. I'm convinced.
Yeah.
Let me explain why I'm absolutely convinced. Even having murdered him, pushing him off the top step, he falls. Maybe he doesn't die immediately. Maybe he lays there and suffers for some amount of time. All she has to do is pick up her kid, go get in the car, take her to the Tasty Freeze to get some freaking Jello and an icy, and by the time you get back, he's dead. And oh no, my husband fell down the stairs while we were gone. I went and got the kid some ice cream. She's scot-free, dude. She is totally loose and free on the freaking world. Well, yes, we were arguing, and I left to go cool off and let him cool off, and I took the kid to go get
You
some
sure
tape.
put a lot of thought into that, huh?
Who, me? No, that was 10 seconds. That was the less than the time we spent watching the fucking video. She thought in it, or rather, she put too much thought in. What is up, Sweet Acres Koi Farm? I ain't seen you in a minute. I'm gonna recheck your channel, but it's blowed up. But yeah, no, in 30 seconds, I came up with a plan that would have worked. And instead, she hid a body for a week, dismembered the damn thing in a kiddie pool, carried it out to the car in multiple sections. And you know it had to be multiple sections, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then went on to lie to everyone about how he run RUNNOFT. And no, I just don't buy not a word of it. Do you? Do you any of it? Okay, good. It would have been a lot easier just to take the kid for an ice cream and come back and be like, because then you don't have anything at all to explain unless you stomp down on him or something.
Right.
Unless there's specific evidence you're wanting to get rid of. You're correct. That is one sick person. She's nuts. Although at least one person in the chat says smash. So, okay, so yes, this is the lawyer. Answer quickly.
What?
Adam was an accident, and Rose made him.
I said the chick on screen, or is this smash or pass?
Oh, she looks more smashable. I mean,
I believe she'd take it like a champ. All right, so who is most honest? Boeing whistleblower won by 54% over Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. My whole chat's full of trolls.
A mistake by believing she could not call for help. She said, "There's a big picture. It's not just about Adam Chase. It's about a marriage. It's about a family. And yes, it's about Rose Chase, whatever that means." The trial lasted 2 weeks. However, the jury only needed 4 hours of deliberation before reaching a verdict.
The jury actually deliberated a total of only just about 4 hours, or a little bit more than 4 hours. So that suggests to us that they felt the case was pretty strong and probably moved toward the verdict that they returned pretty quickly.
Without Rodney, we wouldn't be here today.
Why do you think that?
Because he's the one who found him. He never gave up.
I'm happy she was convicted.
Bruh.
KFC is delicious, but why would you say that?
It's too soon, dude. The woman has spoken. I don't think that's what it means, dude. You keep saying this word, but I don't think it means what it is you think it means. I'm not sure how I like that. I'm not going there.
We worried when some of the testimony was replayed. It always puts that lump in your throat that you wonder what they want to consider. But in my heart, I knew God was going to take care of me. He helped me find him. I knew he would take care of me. The jury did a good job. And Mike Mantillo, for what he was given, you couldn't ask for a better DA as far as I'm concerned.
Obviously, the work of Rodney Miller was fantastic, and I think Sylvia is right. This case may not have been solved without his doggedness. A lot of that is also due to the Chase family, because they are the people that kept the pressure up on Rose Chase, and I think set up her state of mind when she actually gave this all up in December. And I don't think that would have happened without the Chase family keeping the pressure on the way that they did.
After the verdict was read, Rose was given a chance to speak. She said, "I could stand here and tell you a heartfelt apology for what happened, but my friends know what's in my heart and that I'm not a bad person." Rose Chase was...
Honey, stop it. See you next Tuesday. Jeez.
sentenced to 24 years to life and an additional 1.5 years for endangering a child. The child endangerment conviction was overturned in February of 2018, claiming that it was not based on legally sufficient evidence.
All right, I'm going to do this. What do you call a lesbian dinosaur? A licholotopus.
Clipped.
Right. And make sure we did it correctly. Make sure everybody gets their clips.
Rose Chase, the Ontario County woman convicted of killing, dismembering, and burning her husband's body in 2012, had a misdemeanor conviction reversed last week. Court documents say Chase was not guilty of endangering the welfare of a child. That charge had stemmed from her then 4-year-old child riding in the car with her as she transported remains of her late husband from Ontario County to Yates County. Her convictions of second-degree murder and tampering with evidence both stand, and she's currently serving a sentence of 24 years to life.
Rose Chase is currently an inmate at the Bedford Hills Correctional Facility, a maximum security prison for women in Westchester County.
Nice.
Nice.
Nice. Nice. Nice.
I want the public to know it just wasn't me. I mean, Jessica, Sylvia, Becky, neighbors, friends, anybody that had something.
How did you get her to confess?
Through Sandy Armisen in the game.
Been a long time coming, yes. Very difficult to get through. But Mr. Tantillo and Mrs. Hines, they did an awesome job. Awesome. Call it mother's intuition, but I knew something was definitely wrong. My son always called me when something was up. Always. Either me or his dad. My son could rest.
Booyah.
I'm gonna leave that sitting right there for a second. What are y'all's thoughts, man? She just an absolute stark raving batshit moron, or I mean, did she just have enough one day and couldn't take it anymore? What's up?
She found her new ditty.
Oh, I'm done with you, but it's still death to us parts. One of us gotta die. There's not enough room for this town and this town for the both. Sure there is. You stay on your side of the street, bro. No problem. Problem solved. Evil. I agree. Evil. Yes. Yes. Evil. As in the fruits of the devil. Right. Wanted to make sure I got this one started off right. You see this lovely young lady here.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, she is already in her murder garb. That's not a good start. She's obviously resisting. That's not a good continuation. And I don't know how many cops they've got after her, but I know how many they're going to send after her.
Doc, you need to relax. I can't say goodbye. Doc, I can't say goodbye. What is wrong with you? I don't want to see your face. I know her skull's cracked. I know. I just want to see her. What is wrong with you guys? I was trying to. I'm hella drunk. It must have been just out the back window.
Yeah. You just heard that.
Okay.
No. They're coming.
The grisly car accident in which 14-year-old Jacqueline Sanchez.
You know y'all are going to get me smoked on this platform, right? I can't just tell all of these jokes. I'm going to leave that one in chat unless you want to do it.
What do you call a gay dinosaur?
You got to do it right.
Oh.
Do it right.
What do you call a gay dinosaur?
What?
Megasaur ass.
There you go. Very good.
Sanchez lost her life occurred on July 21st, 2017, just outside Los Baños, California. The ghoulish fact that her sister, Obdulia, live-streamed the entire incident on Instagram would reveal the shocking reasons for the heartbreaking tragedy. Countless people saw Obdulia's live stream of the crash, but the footage of what happened after her broadcast has never been seen before.
Jacqueline! 911! Jacqueline! Hello? Do you have an emergency? Hello? Can you come pick up my sister? We're dead. Sweetie, I don't know where I'm located. I just know this is gonna die if you don't come up. Well, I gotta know where you're locate me right now. Wake the up! Wake up! Okay, listen to me. I need to know what you see around you so that way I can send someone out to help you.
Well, let's see. There's trees.
Grass.
There's some grass over here.
Field.
There's more grass on that side. There's some more trees back that way.
Maybe some fence.
There's a road. No, I don't know what road I'm on. I'm drunk, honey. Back window. How the
All right, go ahead. What do you see?
Instead of describing her surroundings as requested, Obdulia hung up. In a situation like this, the operator was likely aware that the seconds it took to redial could have been the difference between life and death.
Hello? Ma'am, did you...
Okay, so I love Ewu. Explore with Us is a magnificent channel and all its iterations. I love them all. In the past 6 months, they have gone far more dramatic in their interpretation of events, right?
Mm-hmm.
They seem to, I don't know, they seem to take an opinion on the case before they show it. Used to, it was just, here's the facts, Jack, here's the thing in a creepy voice, and that was good.
Right.
But now it's like they're trying to drive your perception of the case so that you feel it's creepier, deeper, stranger, worse, or better, or whatever. I don't know. That's not. I don't think it's a good change. I still like the videos, but I don't appreciate that specific change.
Just call 911 about an accident. Where? What do you mean where? Yeah, come over here. My sister's dying. Please come over here. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm in Los Baños.
Finally, they had at least a little bit of a clue as to where to look for Obdulia, but she didn't seem inclined to provide additional information.
Where are you? I don't care. Well, then how do you expect me to find you? I don't know. You're the government. You should know how to find me.
Thankfully, witnesses.
All right.
I mean,
he's not wrong.
Right? Right.
I mean, listen. If I didn't pay my taxes, your ass would be right up my ass.
Right,
So
exactly.
me now that I need you.
You would know where I'm at then.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
If I owed you taxes, you'd be in my back pocket. Hell, you in my back pocket right now.
Right
I'm
now.
still trying to pay that shit down.
Yeah.
Right? But you can't find me. Uh-huh. I don't know. I see where they're coming from. I get it. She's not like in town or anything. They don't got 17. Well, I don't know. That might make it easier, actually. What's up, Awakened?
What's up, Awakened?
Right.
Witnesses began calling 911 and provided much more helpful directions.
Okay, what is going on? Is it a car accident? Yeah, this is a car overturned. It's overturned? Yeah, over here on Henry Miller Road. They ran off the road, went through a fence, and rolled. And one person has the whole head of their head is opened. Okay. You can see. I don't think she does.
Bystanders waved over first responders as they approached, enabling them to identify the scene in record time. The carnage they were about to see would likely stay with them for the rest of their lives.
The one driving. Are they both over there?
God, man. They wasn't just a little bit off the road. All right. Thank you for your confession. Please go wait in the car while we plan your incarceration. She's way off the road. I mean, she might not have been able to figure out where she was. She probably shouldn't have been driving.
Well,
Hashtag
of course,
insanity.
because she was drunk.
Right?
Hey, come on.
Ooh, shit.
She's 14 and it's her birthday tomorrow. She'll
Oh,
be 15.
God.
Quinceañera. Right? I don't know.
Quinceañera?
Is that what it is? 15, right? Or is it 16?
Yeah,
I don't know.
End of your 15th, I believe. I'm not Mexican, although I did date one in high school. Say she is spicy chalupa.
Come on. No. Come. They're coming. Stop.
No, I haven't seen
I
that
did. I did. Yep.
Of
They were
course
in
you did.
diapers. Two
Okay.
toddlers were in diapers and they walked away.
Yeah, that's, God in action right there. A lot of people want to try to come at me about my belief in God, and I'm like, look, man, I can't tell you what color he is, how tall he is, whether he's right or left-handed. I don't know none of that. I just kind of feel like there does seem to be something out there moving pieces around. I don't know what you want to call it, but if it ain't God, what is it?
The doctors do the job.
Believe it or not, this chaos was only the beginning of what police would have to deal with. Along with Obdulia and Jacqueline, Jacqueline's girlfriend Manuela had also been in the vehicle at the time of the crash.
Why
Okay, so we're right at the end of the show. I'm going to go ahead and pop this down. I got a question for you, AJoT. You see how much this woman is throwing down with these cops, right? Does this add charges, or does the judge throw those charges out? We know the charges will get applied, but does the judge throw the charges out because she's obviously distraught?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to hope, I would like to think that they would, but I mean, at the same time, the accident was caused by her and she was drunk. You know what I mean? Like, so although her actions now with the cops are probably a reflection of what's going on, she wouldn't have been there in the first place had she been more responsible. I mean,
right. I was kind of hoping they would at least show some part of the actual live stream she was doing at the time.
yeah, I don't think they do in that
They
video.
don't. I skimmed through
I
it
had
earlier.
to go search it when I was looking at it.
Yeah, if I remember right, it's not one that we can actually play.
No, I think they took it down.
Things get juicy. All right, everybody. I'm gonna let her do the thing.
Well, guys, it's that 2-hour mark. Thank you for coming in and getting lost in the naughty corner with AJoT. We'll see you next Tuesday. Toodles.
You'll love this.
I gotta bounce. Thanks a lot for proving just how ugly and immature you are. It's been real. And just so you know, I don't really care about your problems.